Welcome back to Red Devils TV. This is your Manchester United versus Spurs match reaction. Now, I didn't record last night because obviously I was up for work in the morning, and yeah, this is my match reaction. Now, I've had some time to think about it. I've watched the highlights back, and personally for me, it isn't as bad as people make out. Right, for the neutral, all right, very entertaining. You see 7 goals, blah, 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 blah. But the mistakes United made were absolutely poor. BAYINDIR doesn't deserve to play. Eriksen, like, you can't play him in that role next to Agate. Our midfield had a massive hole in it. It was bigger than the Grand Canyon. Anthony looks like he's in no man's land. Højlund, we can't even complain about him not receiving the service because Bruno created 2 or 3 massive chances for him and he didn't put them away. So there was quite a few things we picked up on. The defence looks really, really shaky. So at the end of the day, let's just talk about where United actually went wrong. For me, it stemmed from the early goal. Now, BAYINDIR, obviously, it was a quick shot from Pedro Porro. And then, obviously, BAYINDIR just doesn't handle with it at all and palms it straight to Solanke, who finished it really well. Obviously, lucky by going it in off the post. But, you know, it was a mistake on BAYINDIR's part. If you're very, very, like, I've never been a goalkeeper. I've always been a right back or a midfielder when I play football. But we always say that in training that if you're in the goalkeeper and you don't know how to handle a shot and you've deflected it or you've palmed it away, always put out for a corner or a throw-in. Right, it's the first one. Any sign of danger, you panic, you don't know what to do, you kick it out so you can just like relax and ruin the momentum almost. Then the second goal, Martinez just passes it to Kulusevski. And yeah, obviously it was disappointing, especially when it was right at the start of the second half, because we learnt this in the first game against Spurs early in the season. We got battered 3-0 when Erik ten Hag was the manager. That they start fast, they will put you on the back foot, and you need to either kick the ball into their half and push up the field to try and let them not gain momentum, or you have 10 men behind the ball and you make it really hard for them to find another player to pass to, especially in the box, because Martinez, it was just an absolute blunder from him. But again, the third goal was, for me, the worst one that we conceded, because I'm not being funny, but at the end of the day, you look at it and you're like, Martinez and Evans are trying to play a high line, and Martinez is more deep, and Solanke just runs through the entire defence. And I'm not even going to blame BAYINDIR on that third goal, because it was a brilliant finish by Solanke. That was probably the best goal of the night. But anyway, I was sat there on my sofa and I thought the game was done. And, well, obviously we lost. But then obviously we come back and score 2. You know, Fraser Force, I don't know what they were doing. Right? I don't know if they were being cocky. I don't know whether they didn't take us a threat. They thought the game was done and won. But we scored 2 goals, you know. Right, obviously, Fraser Forster makes a bad pass to Bruno Fernandes. So squares it off to Xerxes. Xerxes has a tap in. Second goal, Fraser Forster. What's he doing? He just kicks it at Ahmad. Ahmad brilliantly putting pressure and pressing the goalkeeper. And then it goes in. But then, what did United do? Nothing. We did nothing to capitalise on it. We pushed them up the field. They were defended in a low block. But we did nothing to test the keeper from then on. I mean, obviously, they had that moment where Fraser Forster kicked it away when I think it was Bruno or Ahmad's shot, whichever one it was, where he just booted it away. And, you know, if that went in, he's getting absolutely howlers and it's 3-3. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. We're out of the Carabao Cup. For me, that's 3 games less to play. And, you know, Amorim obviously will be a bit disappointed, but at the end of the day, I was quite impressed as well with the fact that it was the mentality of the game and the mentality of the players, because there's been so many situations where Ten Hag was our manager, where he refused to make any changes that were changing the game when we were losing or when we were clearly not the better team, and he would refuse to change it. And it was also the belief and to inspire the players to try and get something out of this. Now, yes, we got lucky with the likes of Fraser Forster just giving us 2 goals, but we still did something to put the goalkeeper under pressure and to make them mistakes. And it just seems that there was so many times under Erik ten Hag when we were trailing in a game and there would be nothing happening. It looked like the players give up. But under Amorim, you don't see that. There's been a few times where United have trailed in games and we've got goals back and we've almost won games. I mean, Man City, the Victoria Pleasant game. There's been so many games where United have trailed, and, you know, I don't see that under Amorim. And we've got that belief back. Now, yes, we might not win every single game, but the Ruben Amorim is making changes when we need to. He's clearly like seeing things that aren't working out. This is what normally happens. If we aren't performing too well in the first half, he'll leave it about... Yeah, with Ruben Amorim, when he makes changes, he looks at the first team and in the first half and be like, right, okay, well, how can we improve on it? He leaves it about 10 to 15 minutes in the start of the second half, and if nothing changes from it, he makes the changes because he wants to win every single game. And that's what a good manager does. If you can see something's not working, so they put something on that can change the game. And that's the difference between a good manager and a great manager. And I really will already put Ruben Amorim in the great manager category because he knows what he's doing. And he doesn't even know these players. None of these players are his signings. Now, obviously, he's worked with Bruno Fernandes. He's worked with the likes of Agate as well. But I'm not being funny. He's still relatively new as a United manager. And I just personally believe that is going to take us very, very far. I do have the belief in Ruben Amorim. So, obviously, I'm disappointed with the result. But at the same time, it's 3 games we don't need to play now. Because obviously with the semi-finals, there's 2 legs. So for me, obviously we can go and focus on Bournemouth for Sunday. That should be a good game. But apart from that, I've got nothing else to add on. You know, maybe we can talk about Anthony a little bit and Eriksen and stuff. And with Anthony, he's done really well for the last few games when he's come off the bench. But again, he's not a starter. We know he's not good enough to be playing for Manchester United now. Eriksen as well, for me, don't renew his contract. If no one comes in from in January, just let him go on a free transfer. Same with Lindelof. There's just been a few players here that just aren't good enough anymore. And if their contracts are expiring and no one's going to make an offer for them in January, then just let the contracts run out, because these are the players that we need to be ruthless with, the players that don't really add anything. Like, yes, they're literally just a body at this point. Eriksen's a brilliant passer of the ball, but apart from that, what else does he offer? For me, he offers nothing. Anthony, you know, he's an alright player, but he's just not good enough to be a starter for United. Lindelof I've not liked for a while now, and BAYINDIR, I think it's time to go out and look for a new number 2, because, you know, BAYINDIR should have had a few more chances against lower oppositions, and he's never had the chances. Is that because Onana just is too good and you just want to stick with him? Or is it because none of the managers trust BAYINDIR? Because, you know, under Ruud van Nistelrooy, when he was interim manager, didn't play him. Same with Erik ten Hag, he hardly played him. And Ruben Amorim gave him his chance last night, but he conceded 4 when Spurs had an XG of 0.67. It's just, it isn't a good look for BAYINDIR. It was his audition and he scuffed it. He really, really failed. And obviously, as a player, obviously that's disappointing to see. But not being funny, if United want to truly rebuild and get back to being the best, you can't have players like that in the squad. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, on to Bournemouth at the weekend. Thank you for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one.